Copper, meanwhile, has touched $13,000 for the first time today, along with big moves for other precious metals like gold and silver. And with recent record-breaking numbers, we're here to talk about what's ahead for the new year for precious metals with Randy Smallwood, CEO of Wheaton Precious Metals. It's good to have you join us. Thanks so much.
Lindsay, always a pleasure. Thank you. Happy New Year.
Happy New Year to you as well. Let's start with copper, because I feel like that's not getting the attention that it maybe should today. It's on a bit of a run. What do you make with what you're seeing with the price of copper as we head into the new year?
Well, there's no doubt the world is moving towards electrifying and increased mobility and mobile electronics and such. So that demand for copper is not going away. And yet it's so tough on the supply side to actually build, construct, permit, even find new copper mines. And so the supply side has always been constrained, and we've been expecting a good bump in copper prices for the last couple of years, and I think we're finally starting to see over the last couple of months some good strength in the copper space, and so it's important for us. We of course don't have any copper production in Wheaton Precious Metals, but 2/3 of our precious metals do come as non-core byproducts from copper mines. And so we're always very interested in the copper space, watch what's going on. And we've got a strong balance sheet that's ready to help build new mines in the space. We just need some new mines to get built.
Well, that's what's so interesting, right? Is there's not, as you say, there's not enough production of copper to meet the demand. And as more AI data centers start getting built and copper's needed more and more, is there a concern that that kind of supply and demand that gap will grow even further with copper?
Well, there is, and how that gets resolved is higher prices that just make it more challenging and more costly. I mean, I think it's one of the reasons why we're starting to see a little bit more silver, a move in silver too, because silver, of course, always improves whatever copper is trying to do. When it gets mixed in, it improves performances dramatically, and so I think on that front, it's also one of the supporting factors behind silver. But there's no doubt it's so tough to permit and build new mines, so expensive that we do need stronger prices in order to get companies to commit to that big capital up front. And so we're getting close. Hopefully within the next couple of years, we're starting to see some big copper projects being committed to over the next, that'll come into production over the next 4 or 5 years.
Right. It's just a big circle. Okay, let's talk about silver a little more in depth then, because as you mentioned, silver's kind of goes through the same thing as copper. Correct me if I'm wrong, in terms of supply and demand. It's also an industrial metal. What do you make of the run silver saw in 2025, and what do you think is going to happen in 2026?
Well, I've always been probably most bullish on silver as a commodity because it also acts like a currency. It's an affordable precious metal, and so it's got two demand spectrums that are both pushing and driving it hard. And on the supply side, the other attraction to silver is that the bulk of silver is produced as a non-core byproduct, mainly from lead zinc mines. And lead zinc prices aren't doing all that well. We're not seeing any expansion or growth in that space. And so higher silver prices don't drive increased production at those lead zinc mines. And so you've got a supply constraint coming into the market when you have increased demand on the other side of the spectrum, both from increased efficiency in electronics and such, the industrial applications, which is now, I think, about 2/3 of the total demand. But then the other third is that affordable precious metal side, and we're really starting to see silver wake up on that front. So I'm really excited about silver. I think silver's got some great opportunity. It was by far the strongest metal in 2025. I think it's going to be the strongest metal again in 2026.
Okay, that was my next question, because before we get to gold, I wanted to pick up on that, right? Like silver compared to gold in 2025 had an incredible run, but it seems as though people always talk about gold a little bit more. Do you think silver is going to get the hype and awareness that it deserves this year?
Well, if you know anything about the history of our company, we started off as a silver streaming company. We're now dominant in the gold space. We have 2/3 of our revenue comes from gold. Although with the silver outperformance, silver is definitely going to grow in terms of the share of revenue. But one of the reasons we stepped into the gold space is that the silver market is so small on a relative basis to gold. Gold is global. Gold is universally recognized. It's coveted by central banks around the world and sovereign wealth funds around the world. Silver hasn't quite got to that status yet. It has in the past, and there's a good chance that it may at some time in the future become part of that that sovereign wealth status, sovereign wealth currency status. But at the same time, what we're seeing is silver always lags gold and outperforms, and that's what we're seeing right now. Is that the outperformance of silver? The retail space, the institutional side, the investor side is now coming into the space. And that combined with increasing industrial demand, the fundamentals behind silver are the strongest I've ever seen.
Okay, so let's talk about gold then, because as you mentioned, there's more opportunities in gold. We saw still a phenomenal run for gold in 2025. What factors do you think have to be in place for gold to continue to be strong in 2026?
We can't talk about gold without talking about the US dollar and the deficit and the continued debt and deficit and fiscal mismanagement of balance sheets around the world, and how that plays into any type of sustainable strength in the US dollar. And so to me, gold is the counterbalance to the US dollar. And if you can paint me a rosy picture for the US dollar, then I'd be a big concern. But in trying to assess where we see gold going, we just don't see anything but longer term weakness for the US dollar. It's one of the ways that they can manage their fiscal imbalance is to weaken the dollar to try and minimize the costs of the existing debt burdens. And so all of it just spells the continued strength. I don't see any headwinds for gold. I just see continued strength, and it wouldn't surprise me to see gold over $5,000 by the end of this year.
Wow. Okay, that's going to be something to watch out for. Just before we wrap up in the last 30 seconds, any other metals that you think people should be paying attention to that maybe we're not talking about?
We're really focused on gold and silver. I just think that from a precious metals perspective, it is where we should be focused on, and everyone needs to have a bit more of it in their portfolios. And so at Wheaton, with the streaming business model, we are the lowest risk way to invest into the precious metal space. We do have a little bit of platinum and palladium, but our focus is really on the gold and silver side.
Okay, that is all the time we have. Appreciate you joining us today and sharing your insight. Thanks so much.
Pleasure.
That was Randy Smallwood, CEO of Wheaton Precious Metals.